Friday morning gathering of Around the Table here with your host, Dimitri Pikey. And we're here on WSTX AM 970 on your radio dial. And here on Around the Table, we deal with history, we deal with culture, and then sometimes we even touch on some of the social issues that directly affect our community. And that's because we believe that knowledge is power. Yes, knowledge put to the proper use is power. When you have power, you have the ability to control and direct your life. So, in that light, we want to invite you to give us a call. You may call to ask a question, call to offer your opinion, or call to just share some piece of knowledge here with us because that is what the program is about, the sharing and spreading of knowledge and information so that we could be empowered. And if you so choose to call, the numbers are 773-0390 and 773-0490. Those telephone numbers once again are 773-0390 and 773-0490. And please don't forget, for those of you who are calling from outside of the Virgin Islands, you will need to use the 340 area code in order to get through. Okay? And the time in our studios is about 34 minutes after the hour of and I wish I had a extra copy, but I ain't got extra copy. I'd like to make a copy of this for you, man.
Oh, let me scan it. I'll scan it into the system because I don't have my printer ain't copying, but it's I can scan.
This brother is nice, man.
Okay.
Anthony brother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna scan that. Give me a second. Let's just call.
How you think?
Mm-hmm.
You think Ice is acting, man?
Oh,
You think they're acting all right? They're doing all right?
I personally, I think that people that are provided a badge seem to think that they are separate and apart from the other people in the nation. You know, just because you're provided a weapon by the state doesn't give you the right to murder people. You know, your job is to use your best judgment. And, you know, if I hear of stories where people aren't actively trying to hurt others, like I heard she was driving away.
Yeah, well, from what I saw in the video, she
yeah.
actually turned. I believe turned to go away from him.
That's what I mean. Like if you're not trying to kill somebody, you shouldn't. So the other person shouldn't be able to act. You can only act in self-defense, is what I'm saying. If they are trying to murder you, then you can act in self-defense with force. But if they are running away, you know, that's why police who kill people who don't have guns on them or are running away, or you once you're given that badge and you think that you're better than others for some reason, like that's a mentality, that's a sickness.
You see it, the president and the higher ups is who.
I don't care if they're feds. Yeah, but that's what I mean. You know, but that's the issue. You can't think that you're above and beyond, apart from others, just because you've been given this weapon to protect people in the community. Like your job is not to use the weapon to kill anybody. It's literally just to save people. And if you're not saving somebody in a situation, that's murder. You know, you shouldn't be able to just shoot somebody who's running away. You can't shoot somebody who's running away.
They're going to shoot over tires.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. That's the legendary one. King Solomon is he's talking about the morning time. Oh, well, and here we are, Friday morning. And let me get to my, we already had a late start, so I'm going to proceed right to my readings, my wisdom teachings. And from there we'll start. Yes, these immortal maxims and wisdom teachings that come from our ancestors. When a man teaches, he speaks to the future. When a man teaches, he speaks to the future. Speak ma'at, do ma'at. Speak ma'at and do ma'at. And we know that ma'at is the ancient symbol for truth, right, righteousness, and justice. Yes. Justice, truth, and righteousness. And to these we may add balance, harmony, and reciprocity. Yes. Justice, truth, righteousness. Balance, harmony, and reciprocity. Strive for excellence in all you do, so that no fault can be found in your character. Strive for excellence in all you do, so that no fault can be found in your character. It is in the development of character that instruction succeeds. It is in the development of character that instruction succeeds. Do ma'at, that you might live long upon the earth. Do ma'at, that you might live long upon the earth. Ma'at is that which endures and raises a person and a people up. Ma'at is that which endures and raises a person and a people up. Sweeter is the water of one who has given than the wine of one who has received. Sweeter is the water of one who has given than the wine of one who has received. Do to the doer that he may also do. Do to the doer that he may also do. Let your generosity reach one who needs it. Let your generosity reach one who needs it. It is not food or wealth which sustains a people and a community. It is righteousness. It is not food or wealth which sustains a people and a community. It is righteousness. When character is lost, all is lost. When character is lost, all is lost. The ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. The ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. And there we have some of the ancient wisdom teachings that come from our ancient ancestors. And yes, and these are maxims and wisdom teachings that we should endeavor to try and live by, and I believe we will be able to have a better life if we try to live and practice these maxims, these ancient maxims, because these were guidelines for living that our ancestors developed, that they discovered. And it is the reason why they were able to build such long-lasting civilizations. Those civilizations developed slowly over many, many years. But because they were built on solid foundation, solid ground, they developed slowly and surely. They weren't perfect. They weren't perfect, but those civilizations developed to a very high level of what we would call a good society. Yes. And hey, these are some things that we should practice. If only our leaders today could follow some of these maxims and these sayings, these wisdom teachings, and look at our society in the very same way, instead of trying to this speedy and rushing development based around profits and money. We may one day may be able to develop some a real good society here where everyone can really enjoy living. Life is for living. Yes. And let me just make a comment quick. And I don't want to, this topic, I don't want to get too much in, but all week I've been hearing different ideas, different opinions, different perspectives on the tragedy like we had here last week with an individual who uh, was attacked by a shark and subsequently lost their life. And there were so many perspectives, so many, everybody had a story, everybody had their own take on it. But I would just limit myself to this. I don't know anything about sharks and anything about the sea. But I would say this. Uh, One of the things that we do know is that the individual went a very far distance out to sea. That individual wasn't attacked close to shore where the regular beachgoers will be swimming and bathing. This attack happened way, way out to sea. And I will say this when it comes to shark. Uh, Not everybody here in St. Croix, I can't speak for St. Thomas and St. John, but not everybody here, and certainly not the majority of people here in St. Croix, ate shark meat. Okay? Everybody did not eat shark meat. There were a few fishermen who actually would actually hunt for sharks and catch sharks, but everybody did not eat shark meat. And when shark meat was used, it was used to make shark balls. Just like how you make a salmon ball or a meat ball. They use the shark meat and they season it up, they grind it up and season it up and do whatever they have to do to make a shark balls. And that is what some people here in St. Croix, that's what I grew up knowing, some people in St. Croix eating that. They would eat shark balls. But the shark and the whole of itself was not a choice fish meat that people here in St. Croix ate a lot of. And the same thing goes for the turtles. Not everybody ate turtle meat. Actually, it was really few people who ate turtle meat and even shark meat. What people I grew up knowing people did, a lot of people would harvest turtle eggs. A lot of people ate turtle eggs. When I was young growing up, that's what a lot of people ate that, and it wasn't everybody. It wasn't everybody, but there was a good number of people I know in the Christian area who would who liked turtle eggs, and they would harvest turtle eggs and whatnot and cook turtle eggs and all this kind of thing. But it wasn't the majority of people in St. Croix eating turtle eggs or the shark meat. And the turtle meat itself, very few people ate that. Really, there were people who ate turtle meat. I have known, I have seen personally in my own eyes restaurants that are, fix it. I won't call names, but I have personally witnessed restaurants that actually serve that. But it was just a limited few people who indulged in that kind of thing. And so I don't want to get caught up in it because since the whole week since that tragedy happened, we've been hearing so many perspectives, so many stories, so many everybody had their own take on this tragedy as to why it happened, how it could have been avoided, and all sorts of things. But I'm going to leave that alone and move on to something else. What I would like to move on to is the fact that we still have a lot of roads, man, that are in disrepair and in a terrible state, man. There's a road, the road that runs from Coble. That road that runs all along through by Glen, along Mombejuk, along Calhoun, right down to Coble. Well, when you leave Coble, heading west, a section of that road by the Holy Cross Church, and the name of that area, I believe, is Upper Love, where the Anglican, the Holy Cross Anglican Church is located. The road that runs by that church, as you come across the bridge is right just east of the church, and as you come across the bridge, going across the church, going across the Annalee Farms, the meat market, Annalee Farms meat market, all the way almost to Grove Place, man. The road is terrible. It's in terrible condition. Terrible condition. A paving company came in some months back last year and they paved a certain small section from by Grove Place. Actually, they paved the road coming down to Grove Place there. But that section by Upper Love, and there's a little estate in between, I think it's called Parasol. Yes, between Upper Love and Parasol there, the road is terrible, man. It's in terrible condition. And it's been so for years. This is not just now. And I don't understand what's going on with the paving of the road, because some roads were paved, or I should say some sections of roads were paved. Certain sections of roads were paved, and then other sections were left unpaved. And those sections that were left unpaved, the road is just terrible, man. All sorts of potholes. The asphalt has eaten away, leaving gullies in the road and all this type of thing. And the roads are just in terrible shape. And that's not the only road. There's some others too that are in bad shape, that needs attention. It needs attention. And I don't know if, oh man, I don't know if anything is going to be done. This is an election year, so maybe some things might be done just because it's an election year. But these roads that I'm talking about are in bad shape. These roads didn't just happen. These roads have been in bad shape now for at least the past 3 to 4 years. These are roads that I drive on a regular basis, and I can tell you these roads have been in bad shape for about at least the past 3 years. And also, something needs to be done about these manholes. People put in, I don't know, it's Public Works or what company, they fix these manholes, and then the manhole cover is usually like at least 2 to 3 inches below the level of the road. So it's like a man-made pothole. So you're dropping in these holes with the manhole covers sunken below the level of the road. I mean, that they need to bring these things up to the level of the road. I mean, this is just common sense. I don't know why they leave these things this way. But anyway, I think we have a caller, so let's go straight to the phone lines. Good morning, caller, and welcome.
Yes, Pikey, I can't believe it's Friday already.
Yes, it is. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It seems like the month of January is on steroids.
Oh, yes, man. It's moving. It's moving, son. It's moving.
Yeah,
They said the old saying said time waits for no one.
Time waits for no man.
Yes.
That's right. And after that, this time is money.
Yes, unfortunately, this yes, time is money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with regard to this fish situation, I said my piece last week.
Yeah, I that's what I said. I don't want to touch that again. I'm leaving that alone. I just wanted to clarify some things with in terms of the eating of sharks and the eating of of turtles and that kind of thing. Because it was mentioned to me last week, so I just wanted to clarify some things on that. Some things I left unsaid at that time, so that's why you know.
Right, yeah. But and I'm serious. I saw it happen in a big parking lot of one of the shopping malls on St. Thomas. An animal, and I'm not tying this to what happened with the shark, but an animal that accustomed to you feeding them. They ain't got no clock, watch, alarm, nothing, no bell, but they know exactly when to congregate there.
Mm-hmm.
This mechanic friend of mine, an excellent mechanic from Santo Domingo, he would come up in the mall at a particular time in the morning, and he sat there and he started sprinkling breadcrumbs or whatever it is.
Oh, for the pigeons? For the pigeons?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see pigeons, like, where were they all the time? They come from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, now, you tell me if, any animal, I got a very small little puppy here, a Chihuahua and a Maltese mix. And if he has his own little room down in a corner, and if I open my bedroom door, or I don't open that particular time, he's under smelling and like crying and bawling because he wants to go outside. Then when he comes back in, of course, he wants to eat the food. These animals are very smart. They're really smarter than some of us.
Yes.
And you look across the United States, it's becoming so that what we call these black bears have become so domesticated. Black bears tell them the world they don't come to nobody's house and then go in the garbage can and all that. No. Something is changing. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to say. I leave that for them and those who have 35 science degree. Me, I don't agree. You see? But animals are becoming more domesticated. Now I can hear someone say, "How come you're in time when I'm there?" Yes, the fellow was out in the wild. I'm talking about the bear coming to your house. Okay? He ain't knocking on the door. He pushed up the back door and he got in. He ain't got to eat somebody looking food.
Right.
And what I see happen again, Pikey, is that alligators are found sleeping and people from door they come out, but God they run back in the vehicle. The thing is running at them is just they call up like that.
Right. Yes, I well, you know, I've over the years I've heard reports about, you know, alligators then for even climbing a fence, you know, climbing over a fence and into someone's yard, you know.
Right.
Not a very high fence, but they climb it and nevertheless at least about 5 feet, you know, 4 feet, 5 feet high fence, wire fence.
Right. Pikey, I live in a condo complex in West Palm Beach, off of Roebuck Road and Harbor Hill. And there's a big backyard, it wouldn't be probably a lake. But these big animals come from wherever they come from, the small one, them too, from the sea, and they come in through the end. They're in the water, swimming the they come up and the side to sun themselves, and you go see the big eye as if they're watching you, but they ain't doing you nothing, they just stay like that.
Yeah.
That's when you see that you hard stay and you gone.
Yeah, well, you see, that's my problem with Florida. That is my problem with Florida. I have some friends. I have a good bit of friends who have, you know, who have moved here since retirement and think they moved to Florida and all this type of thing. Some for medical reasons, and others just they just moved there. I forgot there's a name there. There's a place, or there might be several of them, but there's a place where quite a few Virgin Islanders have gone to live. It's like a retirement area. You could buy your own home and this kind of things. That housing development, but it's for retirees and this kind of thing, you know. So, and I know this one fellow I know that we went to school together. He used to work as a teacher also. He retired and he lives there with his wife and everything. And he came back. He comes back occasionally for visit. And I asked him. I said, "Man, how you make out there with these alligators and things?" He said, "Oh, well, I guess he just gave the regular answer. You know, you just gotta be cautious and I guess he lived in there for a while, so he kind of accustomed to it. You know, so it doesn't really bother him like that. You know, but
Yeah, but
I don't think
one
I
was
could get
fake.
accustomed to that. I can't get accustomed.
Right. One was fake that in the state of Florida, where alligators is maybe there are more of them than people. You will have a lot of things eating up people. I have seen alligators. People grandfather one crossing the street and they eat the police.
Mhm.
You know the police.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
kind of time.
Well, you know,
He directed the traffic and he didn't know how it.
one thing you made note of there, and I have to agree, is that you really don't hear a whole lot of incidences with alligators attacking people. You know, you would think
No,
there would be more of it because they're so plentiful in that state. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
but really and truly, you're right. Unless we just don't hear about it, but you don't really hear that much attacks, you know, by alligators at all. Really, very true.
Well, by getting
Occasionally,
right there with them, and I know I would have it.
right,
I don't decide nothing that
right. Mhm.
since 2009 that I've been there.
Yes, yeah. I agree with you on that. Yes, yeah. You very rarely
Yeah,
hear about these attacks. True. That's true.
that's right. Anyway, coming back home, the state of the territory,
Oh, that's coming up soon, eh? Yeah.
as some would say the state of the territory,
Hmm.
but I would say más problemas en las Islas Viejas.
Well,
More problems.
I
Let me
don't
tell you
know.
something. I have a very high, what do you call it, for the lack of a better word, a high vision telescope. And I stay right there where I is, and I point it towards government house. And I get a sneak peek of what the government will put on paper to come up before the wall, giggling like a hyena, and he got the sheep lenders that they're not clapping their hand off. Let me tell you something. I don't know. I mean, even if the Bible didn't say the truth shall set you free, even if the maxim that you just read didn't say about us living a righteous life and all of the things, the governor could do a better job by doing what? Telling the truth. I would want anybody to tell me what is he going to say has happened in the Virgin Islands since he became, or from the time he was never commissioner for that matter, when he caused the territory to lose $10 million. What has happened? As we advance, are we sliding sideways, or we taking a nosedive like the astronauts coming from in the waves up in the sky to make a splashdown? I mean, you got to be really foolish and untruthful to yourself. As this certified science teacher has said, he is the best governor the Virgin Islands ever had. But ask her to get me some calculus, give me something to measure it with. She can't come up with nothing. Well, I said, when we That's all you want to tell government.
Well,
My kids after school, children,
well,
about the ball and gold.
mhm.
And don't tell me he didn't put it there. He went there to make things better than what he can say upon.
Yes.
He hung up up and said, what makes he see? He gonna give it a big bottle of milk, give it a bottle of oil. But we don't like the truth. And I go by saying this because I always don't take back and former Senator Brian. For years he's been teaching and trying to tell people the truth. He usually does say his joke our make it our experience.
Well, is listen, I have to blame us, because you see,
You don't want to know them.
because I mean, look what happens right in front of our eyes, and we still refuse to really wake up and smell the coffee. Because I mean, here it is. You have when they're ready to travel, governors, senators, and all these people, they simply appropriate money when they need money for anything, right? They would simply appropriate it and use it. But here it is now, when the school children have to go, let's say they got to, even just from here to St. Thomas, they're going to play. They're going to play sports. Now they're going to play sport. They're representing the school. Okay, they're representing the school. They're representing the St. Croix community, and they have to go out and sell water on the side of the road to raise money in order to take these trips and do what they need to do. But when these fellows have to, when they were going to Africa the other day, I ain't see nobody raise money for that. They just simply use government money, and our people just can't see this. I don't understand what's going on with our people. Look at, and now I'm not saying they're supposed to give this culture and everything for free. Well, all they simply have to do, pay the passage and for the room and board for these children, and you tell them, give them a stipulation, you let them know, listen, you are going to raise some money, and that will be your pocket change. That will be your pocket change for you to work with. And everybody needs to raise, you need to raise a certain amount of money so that you can have a certain amount of money in your pocket. You're going to St. Thomas, you're going to be over a day or two and spend a night or two or something. You should have some kind of money in your pocket. You can't go over there, no money in your pocket. And then some people got money and they spend it, and others walking around with their hand in their pocket, nothing to spend. You know what I'm saying? So you would let them raise money that they could divide up now and use for their own pocket change. But the government, we should be able to give them this. And people say the government can't give everything, but then how come the government will give these fellows money to go to Africa, to go to Japan, go all these different places, do all these different things, send money to other islands, as a matter of fact, to help other islands. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't help other people, other islands in the Caribbean. But man, how you could be sending millions of dollars to another island, and your own school children got to go on the side of the road selling water to raise money? Well, what kind of stupid is that?
Let me finish and go. That is because we have a governor that don't listen to the people, that is so high-hearted and bombastic and emboldened that he would say and ask you, "Is that not my way to these people? You never please." I mean, this kind of stupidness, and you're supposed to shut up, take that for each cake.
But as the governor, it is your job to please the people. That's what you want. That's what you were elected for. You know what I'm saying?
But then I got one agree with him. Are you too greedy? I don't want to go tell your mother go do this. Why you don't ask if I love it now? Why you ask if I? That's a stupid thing. But now we're talking about a relationship with the British Virgin Islands. And yes, I can talk about that because both my Before on one side, it goes back to Cuba, and on the other side to Australia. Yes, that's tons of names in those two places to include Dominican Republic. Yes, so as a boy, my parents would know when Mr. Johnny coming on a little sloop, and they would give me a box of things to give to Mr. Johnny to take up to my mother, and Mr. Johnny likewise will give me a box. Nothing, no money, nothing. But today now, it's a situation where the governor, even though his heritage to go back to Totola, God goes back to Totola. They only know that he said it, his grandmother from Totola. He is fighting now on who making more money, the Britishers or the U.S. for the landers, off of the water and off of movement. So what does he do? He complains to Trump.
Well, he didn't say he wanted to put a tariff on the BVI. What become of that tariff? What become of that? I guess that gone in the wind. Yeah, I am. So I guess that gone out through the wind. He showed that out though. The tariff thing, you forget about that. No, I guess he ain't no more talk about the tariff.
Well, let me tell you, if he believes as much as Trump would love to like money and he gets into anything, the only reason he gets into things is that he can get a piece of it.
Well, Mr. Nims, that's
why?
In these last, I would say these last 20 years, at least these last 20 years, a lot of the politicians who are being elected going there just to get wealthy, you know. That's what they're going there for. To everybody want a piece of the pie, and to hell with the Virgin Islands, man. You know, everybody. But then again, it's our fault, man. It's our fault. We keep voting, you know.
The thing is this. I remember the thing is slay off a little of my mind slide off, but I will come back.
That's all right.
But I'll finish the base on what you said a while ago. Every and all congressperson in the U.S. Congress, through the House and the Senate, they have a P behind the name. Billionaires. Some of them, I'm sorry. They are millionaires. Then there are some that are multi-millionaires. And then there are few with more to come that are billionaires. I mean, check it. I ain't talking. I really go check it yourself. There ain't no poor people in there doing nothing. Anyway, I will continue to listen.
Yes, man. Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. Yes, folks. And right now, I want to read a little section of Mr. William Boyer's book, America's Virgin Islands, A History of Human Rights and Wrongs. And this section has to do with the island of St. John. And in this section in the book, it's called, well, the name of the section in the book is called Rockefeller's Resort. Rockefeller's Resort. And it gives you a little bit of the history of what's been going on with St. John. Even before the sudden rise in tourism and business, visitors began to express concern that most of the natural beauty and scenic charm of St. Thomas and St. Croix are being destroyed. No such concern was expressed about the smallest and most virgin of the three major islands in the territory, undeveloped St. John, which had long been neglected and all but ignored in the various governors' annual reports to the Secretary of Interior. Its population had steadily declined from a high of 2,555 in 1841 to 746 in 1950. Wow, that's amazing. In 1950, there were only 746 people on the island of St. John. Because the end of slave labor after 1848 made plantation agriculture unprofitable. In 1955, only 56 of its 12,160 acres comprised land in cultivation, and most of the remainder, 85% of the total, covered by bush and second growth tropical forests. In 1939, Harold Hubler of the National Park Service had made a study and a report recommending that a national park be established on St. John to prevent the island from becoming despoiled. But the onset of World War II intervened and his plan was shelved. After the war, multi-millionaire philanthropist Lawrence Rockefeller cruised around the area every winter for 6 years and concluded that the island of St. John had the most superb beaches and view of any place he had ever seen, and was the most beautiful island in the Caribbean. In the early 1950s, Rockefeller bought at bargain prices almost half the island. At Canil Bay, the site of an historic plantation on the northwest shore, he established a getaway from it all resort where a very few of the well-connected rich could relax in surroundings of expensive simplicity. Wow. Surroundings of expensive simplicity. Wow. Rockefeller, meanwhile, discovered Hubler's report and decided to donate his holdings toward conversion of about 2/3 of the 9x5 island into a national park. He later commented, "I just started out to preserve a limited area as a business and develop a unique resort for people who work hard and want peace and loveliness in their vacations. But it developed into a larger concept of a national park, so all America could preserve it forever. The resort will be non-profit now." Wow, I tell you, the designs that these people and the intentions these people had, Mr. Rockefeller's proposal for a national park was endorsed by Governor Archie Alexander, the Interior Department, the member of the Insular Legislature representing St. John, Julia Sproul, the legislature itself, the St. Croix Avis, and the St. Thomas Daily News, which predicted that St. John should boost the tourist program to large proportions and will also attract a better type of visitors. A bill drafted by the Interior Department to create the Virgin Islands National Park was introduced in Congress, which held hearings in 1955. The park was to take up nearly 3/4 of the island of St. John. What is this? The total size of the park was to be limited to 9,450 of the total 12,860 acres, plus 50 acres on the east end of St. Thomas for a docking and parking area. Rockefeller had already acquired 5,000 acres for the park, and the remaining 4,550 acres were to be acquired over time, with additional funds to be donated, presumably by Rockefeller. Establishment of the park, however, was not to await acquisition of the balance of the 4,550 acres. Testimony before a Senate subcommittee sought to establish that Rockefeller's whole purpose is a gift to the public and that there is no personal profit involved, and that no one would be displaced or would any resident on the island be adversely affected. I don't think that came to pass. Meanwhile, Rockefeller's money was being used to expand the Canal Bay Resort facilities from 50 to 100 rooms to be available at rates from $15 to $22 per day per person, including all meals. In anticipation of establishment of the park, Rockefeller transferred the title to all his St. John holdings, including the 600-acre Canal Bay Resort, to a non-profit corporation, the Jackson Hole Preserve, Inc., to acquire the land for the purpose of donating it to the government. A subsidiary of the Jackson Hole Corporation, the Canal Bay Plantation, Inc., was established to operate the resort, all earnings of which were to revert after payment of taxes to the government of the Virgin Islands, to Jackson Hole for non-profit park purposes. The extent of Rockefeller's gift in terms of dollar value was considerable, as witness Rockefeller's early 1956 comments that $3 million had already been spent on land and facilities, with considerable future development to be done. With no testimony offered against the proposal, Congress easily passed the bill, and the National Park Service opened the Virgin Islands National Park in August of 1956. Consisting of more than 5,000 acres donated by Lawrence Rockefeller. Other properties were acquired, and by June of 1958, the park encompassed over 2/3 of the island of St. John, with still more acquisitions planned. Wow. Well, we can see here that people were more interested in preserving the scenic beauty and charm of the island than with the welfare of the people who lived on the island. Nobody really cared about the people of St. John. They wanted to just maintain a nice, pretty place for tourists to come and see. And to hell with the people who live on St. John. Oh boy, I tell you, hey, we as Virgin Islands, we've been through a lot in our history here. By the terms of their sale agreements, householders living in the park area were allowed to remain on their land for the duration of their lives. They were obliged, however, to the surprise of some, to abide by the rules and regulations enforced by stiff-brimmed U.S. Park Service rangers. Although the Canal Bay Resort, as part of the park, was now open to the public, it remained so exclusive that in 1958, Virgin Islands Senator Walter Hodge called it a millionaire's lodge protected by the federal government. Yes, son. Great brother Hodge, son. He said he exposed it, man. He said it. He called the resort a millionaire's lodge protected by the federal government. Alleged incidents of racial discrimination at the resort moved Hodge to complain that as long as there is a national park, no person of color or low means will be able to establish a single home in that area. Man had some vision, and he saw what was happening back in 1958. Imagine that, eh? And we, in 2026, my son, and very little has changed. Senator Theobald Moorhead, St. John's only representative in the insular legislature, added, "Unfortunately, the gift horse we have accepted is permanently installed in our stable, asking for more and more room and threatening, it seems, to kick us off the island entirely if we don't cooperate. And cooperate means we have learned simply to agree to whatever is presented. The misunderstandings brought Lawrence Rockefeller to visit the island to assure residents that he would buy no more land on St. John and to answer charges that his agents interfered in areas outside the park and tried to dictate the development of roads and telephone service and the improvement of Cruz Bay, St. John's only village and port. Finally, after a long meeting, Senator Moorhead grudgingly subscribed to a joint statement declaring that neither Mr. Rockefeller nor Jackson Hole Preserve, Inc. ever had any intention of interfering with or attempting to direct the construction of roads, installation of telephone service, community planning, or other public interest developments on St. John. It added that they were anxious, as in the past, to cooperate in any efforts to aid in these matters. Thus ended the first chapter, but not the last, of the Virgin Islands National Park on somnolent St. John. Yes, folks, and so we see that they had designs for St. John, and they came to fruition, and we can see that up to today, people are still arguing, still very much concerned the fact that St. John, most of the island have been turned into a national park with no concern or care about the people who live there. Let's take a phone call. Good morning, Carla, and welcome. Hey, Grand Rising, sis. How are you doing?
Hello. Well, let me give you my little intro. But I have to, anyway, let me give my intro, right? Okay. There's no pain Jesus can heal. No one he cannot heal. And all things work according to his perfect will. No matter what you're going through, remember God is just using you for the battle. It's not yours, but the Lord. Yes, Mr. Cookman.
Yeah, man. You sure you want used to sing or something? You want to sing us somewhere along the line?
No, man.
Oh, God.
Listen. Today's a big one for me. Today would have made 42 years. My daughter would have been here, you know. But 13 years ago, she was taken from me.
Oh,
So I
so
made
hear that.
18. She made 18, and then 5 days later, she was knocked down by a drunk driver. You
Oh,
know?
man. Oh,
And
oh, wow.
it was just so ironic that I went to a funeral on the 14th to the same church that my daughter was raised, you know. Within 14 years, never had this thing, you know what I mean? And while I was waiting for you, I was singing another song, you know. But it's like God just pressed that song on my heart. You know what I mean?
Well,
Just press it.
you know, that the fact that you mentioned, you know, you're losing your daughter to a drunk driver, and you know, just this morning I saw something on the TV news, and I can't remember which country it is, but some place in the world here today, they decided to lower the speed limit, the driving speed and the speed limit in that country, in that particular place. And I'm saying, you know, maybe we need to consider that here in St. Croix, because the way how some people have been driving, I won't say all the drivers, but I don't know for St. Thomas, but I could tell you for St. Croix, the way how people have been driving here, I mean, it's crazy, man. And it's so surprising that we haven't had more accidents because, you know, given the condition of the roads are narrow compared to roads in the States, okay, in stateside and in many other places. The roads are very narrow. and then they're not well maintained. So I can't understand why people would want to be speeding, going at breakneck speed on these roads that are not well, because I mean it's so easy to lose control because of the condition of the roads, But I don't know. A lot of people may not agree with it, but
not well. The potholes that you got dodged from.
exactly. That's exactly.
I want to say about the potholes you got dodged from. Like I just saw dodge a big pool. You understand? No good lightning because they don't have the battery backup for the solar panel. No line strip to at least put a first and strip in the road so you could sell a patch you belong. No good railing. We could go on and on.
Oh yes, I did mention a little bit about roads this morning, and the fact that so many roads still need to fix.
So it's election time is a course.
Yes, sir, and I mentioned that, and so we may get some of them fixed now that it's election year. So I'm waiting to see.
Well, let me say this about the coupon. I hope you out there taking care of yourself as far as doing a little exercise, little walk, you know what I mean? Because the body is something that is mechanical. And if you don't use it, you lose it. You can't sit down and play dead. So get up and do a little 5 minutes. I kind of try to encourage people to walk. I get back walking and tell people what is 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Take a little time out to continue keeping our blood flowing to your heart.
And you're so right, you're so right, Kimbra. We are actually, as a community of Virgin community, well, and here in St. Croix too, especially, we are living really on the edge, dangerously on the edge, because we have no hospital, we have no healthcare facility, real good healthcare facilities, and as a society, and we are living this way. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's madness. Because and I have to say, well, thanks to the Creator that we don't have more serious problems. Because if we had serious problems, oh man, it would be a catastrophe then, because we have no hospital. And so your message about taking care, I don't do too much of a good job of that, but I try to. But I mean, it's really madness. It's crazy because we're living on the edge, dangerously on the edge, because we have no health care, no health hospital. And I mean, if some major catastrophe happens, I mean, oh my God, we in serious problem, man. We in trouble.
Well, from 2019, when I've been on previous registration, I was telling people about health. Whether it be a plan that you could, like you prepare, and most people have the high blood pressure and the diabetes, that prepare is good. I always try to give a little of my wisdom. That's what it is, wisdom. Because it don't come from me, it come from the most high, But because I don't talk like them, dress like them, or educated like them, but they'll take my knowledge to their advantage, but they won't give me my credit. You understand? But the most I always vindicate me, and that they could never take away. A lot of people do things, you could see a man have a face, but you can't see heart, Mr. Copeland. A lot of people have motives behind what they do, and that is for me to judge. You know what I mean? And that's what God tell me, where I could help, and where I could do, I could do, that's what I could do, and I could still prepare for me, Just like I was telling them about these warships, Just like I was telling them, February 3rd, our government keep it quiet because the Haitian them, I don't know about St. Croix, but St. Thomas have a lot. They have the TPS, which is a temporary protective service, is being lifted. They have to go back home. Then the Somalians have to go in March. But, it didn't come from the big shot then. I know little shot. Probably an ant. You know what I'm saying? But who don't have a feel? Remember Mr. Copeland, when I said...
You're a baby shot, man.
Mr. Copeland, when I tell you, St. Croix still have to bring their dead bodies over to St. Thomas.
That's a shame, my son. That is
You know
a
what
shame.
we know? Kenny Gittins want to know what's the reason why the whole night beating this drum. But because I the aunt, you understand, and it's election time again, are you gonna vote now? Because if I, the aunt, could have seen for long, what only I had eyes to see, eh? Only a few had eyes to see, because I am not one alone. But from 2019, I telling the Virginella laws, take care of yourself, you know. No, look, we are be like a chicken with our head cut off. But I don't be so busy worrying about the messenger instead of paying attention to the message. 99% of our food coming from America. Who the 1% for the farmer?
Oh, son, that's another shameful thing, son. I mean, if
What are
I,
we doing?
you know,
Farming the food? I want to know, Mr. Kaufman, if 99% of our food coming from America, we just want to little shut down with the airport because that's when Trump had do Venezuela and so forth. Well, 1% coming, we really have a catastrophe down here, Mr. Kaufman.
yes, hey, and you're so right. You're so right. Because I mean, like, listen, I can remember hearing people talking about agriculture and food and the need to produce more in the event of any major catastrophe. Hurricanes come just about every other year or every few years to remind us about it. And now, like you said, this situation we had with Venezuela was something else that came to remind us about it, and we still would not listen to the warning.
You
know, and
but it has a good time to show that for next year carnival when it's set day to keep you under the spell because I'll tell you VA under a lot of obey. And I keep singing it, you know, I'm singing it I free. A lot of obey. But they put that in, you know, they put out set day. But we're talking about the people that who working illegal or have workers permit. But I want to keep the people in the shipos. You know, shipos ready to get started. You know. Not me. You know. I just a messenger. And who don't hear will surely feel. And the dead in God Christ is the living. If I ain't paying attention to what's going on around the world, New Zealand, Dominica, Antigua, these are people who we are connected. Digital ID, it was just like the job for a job. And just like everything could be tracked and they use human or animal guinea pig, it's time for us. So if you got a package go, Mr. Kaufman, and if you know you could go and say, Bob, and I tell you what a package is. You know what I mean?
No.
If you pull something, it could tell you what part of I dare anybody. Yeah, I dare anybody to show me wrong. You could track it. Mr. Kaufman.
Wait, you talking about tracking your postage?
Yeah.
Yes, they do that. I thought you were saying they could actually see inside the package. I thought that's weird.
Well, but then you never know.
But
you know, Mr. Kaufman, what part you live? If you live in 857 Grove Place, they could go and Google Earth and just zoom in and see your whole property going on.
Yes, I believe there what they call it, this GPS system and thing.
Google Earth. It's called Google Earth. Google Earth. Just put your address and you'll be amazed. You don't need a surveillance camera. Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
If they could microchip your animals, microchip your animals, who you think next, Mr. Kaufman? The first plant was the vaccine. The next one is the mark of the beast. 666. Just like you had us stand 6 feet. You can't go next to nobody unless you're 6 feet, you know? Even a post office, you see the market still there. You got to stand 6 feet. That what it tells. And if you reduce that identification, because all kind of people selling identity, they're selling food stamp, they're selling everything. We take next to get the chip when everything being tracked. And you and me?
Well, I have to say I won't be having any chip in me. That's for sure.
So how you get your money? And you alone, you know, Mr. Copeman, it's me too, you know. How you get your money? How we going to eat? Everything else being tracked. But you know, I probably a little too big for many. But I'm telling you, I just a messenger. Mr. Copeman, I'm going to try. I probably will go Water Island today, you know. Take a little breeze off and take my daughter and celebrate, because the den that cry for is a living, and I still have a lot of living, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And every day just getting more, like mankind heart just getting more wicked, you know, more wicked. A man will do anything for money, you know. And we see it in the Virgin Islands, but they don't care, you know. So they talk a good talk.
Oh yes, we talk
They
a good
talk
talk.
a good talk. And at the same time, there's one who kill you and come to your funeral and say, who do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take my word for it, you know. My eyes ain't open, wide shut. Many people, they try to bring me down because, God picked me up. I've been drunk, I've been disorderly, I've been jailed. But God picked me up and He turned me around. You understand? Because He take people like me to help you. And who wants to say what it is, so be it. Because everybody want to be the chief. And nobody want to be an Indian no more. You check? So many are called until you show them. But the time coming, Mr. Copeman, what we going to do? Because I say you, I say we.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to die? If they tell you, hey, I can't identify you, still going on in the state?
Yes,
so forth?
yes.
Eh? So when they get rid of them people, the immigrants and everybody who they think clean up, they got to identify you. If you look around, don't take my word for it. Digital ID. You got to take that shit. Okay, 2026. Hello. Don't take my word. Let's talk about next week who lives and start to do something. You want me to send you the Pickle Bear? You find the Pickle Bear?
I haven't found any right now, but I know out in La Valley they're supposed to have some.
Hold on, you sent me the service to go, man.
Yeah, but I haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance to get out there to go and look for it. But I remember I saw some out there a little while back. But
you know, comfort zone is where our dreams die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Our comfort zone. Ain't no, I tell you about a Pickle Bear.
I know that. And you know, the funniest thing is like we had that thing used to grow in St. Croix a lot. I mean, when I was young coming up, you know, I ate a lot of that, and you know, we used to see it a lot. But over the years, you know, a lot of the land got cleared to build homes, build roads, build all sorts of things, and now you don't see it in the areas that you used to see it.
You know homework. If you don't get it by next week, when I call who lives, that'll be what, the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair life. Then you should be telling me. I'll be telling you. I'll tell you to keep playing.
All right. Well, I'll look out for that. I'll let you know next week. Yes.
What else you're supposed to look? You're supposed to look.
Yes, I suppose. Yes. But I'm saying I know one place I know for sure had it was out in La Valley. Now they might some places up on the east end of the island may have it, because that usually used to be a very dry and rocky area, and it grows in dry and rocky areas real well. You know.
Don't take my word. Check out the benefits. Like I tell you, I know. I mean, I didn't want to go for that knowledge, but God grant me knowledge to help people who have diabetes and hypertension, and that's what's killing us right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's little to compare water. Just drinking a drink like water, use very regularly. You can't live forever, you know. body should be very comfortable and you got to give. So if I say break my toe and I feel a pain, you can't feel my pain, like I can't feel your pain. So you got to take care of you. It's called self-love. Okay, Mr. Kaufman.
All right, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, and have a nice and safe week and weekend.
Likewise.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, let me see here. Good morning, Carla, and welcome.
Yeah, Pikey, I wasn't listening, but I put out an ATB for Ida Smith to call you. Did she call?
No. I was just speaking with Kendra.
Okay. The reason I did that is when you talk about the National Guard matter. and the
National
island
Park.
thing.
National
That
Park.
National Park.
Mhm.
National Park. Yes, I'm sorry. Where the part of that, the whole of
Yeah.
that island, that very small island. I know that when she ran for the House of Representatives position last time, she seemed to be very versed in land grab situations that have taken place on St. John by the National Park and big entities like Bloomberg and those that they were the Whistling Key and all this kind of thing. And she referred to the geodetic surveys that shows who the true owners of the land were. Some people were saying it's their land, but they was not the owner of the land. And of course, there's a lot of that seemingly that has taken place on St. John, and something that she was working with the folks up there to try to correct that. I suspect it for no other reason than because she's a St. Johnian. So, that's where her heritage
Mhm.
is. But we got to be so careful of Greek parent gifts. And let me tell you something quickly because I know your time running. When I worked for WAPA back in the day and would be on St. John laying out power lines, roads, and whatnot with my engineering crew, and then using instruments and then tripods and transits, and so one time we tried to run a line which would have taken up a very small section over some national park property. Well, at least that they said they own. And we were stopped.
Yes.
Anyway,
Well, the little section that I just read here, they'll touch on that.
Okay.
I mentioned that the fact that that complaint was largely with Mr. Rockefeller, that
Right.
that the park people, the park rangers were interfering with people trying to run electric wires and do various things that wasn't really impacting the park. They were
Yeah, well, I didn't hear that, but I could ask for that from experience. So what happened? I told my men to continue to work, taking for the poles, so it was leather poles and whatnot. And this thing ended up all the way back to Washington because I wasn't studying as even the executive director at the time was a white boy like that. I continue to have doing my work. So anyway, it came down to the point where because the national park now needed an upgrade in electricity that would have given cause for WAPA to run lines over other people's property to get to them. That was the only reason that they buckled and said, we don't like to run the line. You see they coming with this kind of prejudicial behavior from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, the article I read just mentioned touch on that a little bit, and one of the outspoken critics of that whole situation was Walter Hatch, better known as Brother Hatch.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You see, and I am sure if we check, we will see that a lot of that is also included in the big Sabanero brother list on Monsanto box?
I'm sure, yes. Okay.
Oh, yes, because he married into the Marsh family from St. John, one of the biggest landowners over there. So, again, that's why I use the term beware of Greeks bearing gifts.
Mm-hmm.
We got away somebody come with 5 cents. We think it 500 million.
Well, and again, I mean, what you're saying is true because when that issue came up as to whether they want to establish a national park in St. John,
Right.
I guess some people were a little suspicious of it, but as I read here, at the time, I think he might have been a legislator at the time, Julius Sproul.
Right.
Apparently, he grudgingly went along with it. He agreed with it, but not knowing what was going to end up to, because I think he became after the whole thing came to fruition, I think he realized that things were not going the way it was supposed to go.
So that's true.
And that's what prompted Brother Hodge to make the statement that he called it a millionaire's lodge protected by the federal government.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was.
And apparently, and I would say the same thing probably happened here in St. Croix, because from what I understand, it was our Virgin Islands government who turned the fort in Christiansted and the surrounding properties over to the park service under the pretext that they would be able to manage it better and maintain it better. But then, as the years went by, people began to see that it was probably a bad idea, and the general populace regretted the turning over of that land, because a valuable parking space that had always been in Christiansted in front of the bandstand. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that area.
Oh yes, I am.
Yeah, well, they uprooted the asphalt and everything and turned it into a lawn with grass growing. Said they want to take it back to how it was originally. Well, these people crazy, because if you want to take it back to how it was originally, they go break down the whole fort.
That's true.
Because that's how it was originally. It had no fort there originally. The people, I guess the colonial powers were at the time, before they built the fort, the Danish, they just pile up a mound of dirt as a kind of a little defensive barricade in case ships coming in. They will have some kind of little protection. But that's, I mean, if you want to carry it back to the original thing, then they got the whole thing and knocked down the fort. The fort wasn't original, and even the color of the fort. They got the fort painted yellow and white. Yellow and white is not the Danish colors.
True.
The fort had only appeared to look yellow because of the bricks that were used in the ships for ballast. When the ships came here, they didn't need the bricks anymore because they had cargo now to use as ballast. So the bricks were landed here, taken out from the ship, and the bricks is what they use. These yellowish colored bricks, what they used to build the fort. And eventually, after the fort was built, they plastered it and they painted in red and white, the Danish colors. But this nonsense I mean, listen, over the years, I've heard it from just the average person on the street how the regret of having that whole area turned over to the Park Service, because part of that area that the Park Service now controls was a playground. I remember it as a playground. It's a parking lot now, and it was a playground years gone by. That is the place where the young people who lived in the town would congregate in the evening, late afternoon and evenings to play basketball, or they just use swings and they play in the jungle gym. But it was like a recreational area for the children of the town.
Yeah.
All of that was done away with, and the Park Service said they don't want no more of that, and that's why the village had to move from there. They don't want no more. They say people were paying in a war against the walls and all kind of thing, and have garbage in here all over the place. And well, I mean, if it's a festival, what do you expect? They're gonna be garbage all over the place. You just have to have people to clean it up. when the whole thing is
All right.
finished. You know,
You see,
but
the folks in Washington and the slave masters and whoever else that know that we are a fallible people.
yeah.
On to today, where we make some announcement about some money, you give them a piece of money and do this and do that, and they will give away the soul to save the a-hole.
Well, I guess.
What I want the government to do in closing, let me go quickly.
Yeah.
I want to hear him say on the state of the territory address, what is he doing to get back the $600 million to build new power plant and to exploit? What is he doing? Say he's so friendly with President Bryan that he wants to fight down the Tolian. Why don't he make him give him back that $600 million? And I hope in the state of the territory he will come clean. Did I build a house? No. Did I build a hospital? No. Did I build a airport road? No.
Mr. Nibs,
No.
Mr. Nibs, I think you're expecting too much.
Well, the people expecting too less.
You're expecting too, you're expecting too much. Yeah, but that's predictable. That's a rehearsed script. That's how you know.
Let me tell you something. I have seen state of the territory addresses where before the governor opened him out the clapping.
Oh yeah.
But I said that yet, but it's still clapping.
Mm-hmm. Well, you better clap if you want your job and clap hard too.
Well, that's what I said. They have graduated from political prostitutes to political harlots. And with that, I got.
Have a happy and safe weekend, Mr. Nibs. All right. Okay. Yes, folks. Unfortunately, listen, that's the state we in here, listen. That's the state of the territory right now. And so, those who are expecting something optimistic and something promising and bright for the upcoming state of the territory address, I don't know if you could really expect that. I think you have your high hopes. You have your hopes up too high because, hey, nothing has been done and nothing will be done. I think they're leaving everything for the next governor who comes in. And so far as I see it, I don't know who are running for governor, but about the first, maybe the only 3 or 4 people that I've heard that supposed to run it seems to me that any one out of those 3 or 4 people who plan to run, from what I heard, will be a continuation of the same. It will be a continuation of the same. I hear a lot of people saying, such and such a person is running, and we're gonna vote for this person because we're gonna have a person will be the first female governor and all this kind of thing. All of that is nice, and folks, I cannot vote for somebody just because I want them to be the first female governor. I don't vote like that. To me, when it comes down to this whole thing, it matters not whether the person is a male or a female. What matters is the person have a good head on the shoulder and they plan to do a good job. They plan to please the people, work for the people, not for themselves, but for the people. So, hey, if you are female and that is your objective, that is what you plan to do, then you could probably get my vote. If you are male and that's what you plan to do, and that's what your objective is, then you'll probably get my vote. But I can't vote for a person just because just because they're either a male, a man person, or because they are female. And that's a little troubling because this is what I've been hearing since last year. I've been hearing this talk coming up. More and more people want, hey, we will vote for the first person to be a first woman governor and this kind of thing. What benefit, what point is there in voting for someone to be the first female governor if they are just going to be a continuation of the same nonsense, the same stupidness that we have going on right now? So as voters, we need to become much more educated on that, man. And you see, this things like that is it's that kind of thinking, that kind of attitude is why I have to always say that the voters in the Virgin Islands need more education. And not when I say more education, not about the people who run it. They need more education of themselves. They need to search themselves. They need to search their minds. That is what is needed. They need to become better voters, better thinkers. Don't even voting for somebody because it's just a female, or voting for them because of some stupid reason. Come on, man. We got to be more intelligent than that now. It's 2026. Voting for somebody because they're female governor. I have nothing against the female. I have nothing against women. I'm just saying that among the names that I've heard supposed to be running, I see these people as a continuation of the same stupidness that we got right now. It's nothing against them personally, whether they are female or whether they are male. It is just that they are a continuation. They belong to the same political party. They follow the same political philosophy. They spout the same kind of talk. It's a continuation of the same stupidness we have here now. Why would I want to vote for a continuation of the same stupidness that we have here now? Why would I want to do something like that? I don't know. But anyway, I know I wouldn't do that. But anyway, before time around, I just want to say good morning and a happy new year again to all those people who posting messages online. Miss Brenda Booker Rogers, I haven't heard from you quite a little while, and it's good to hear from you. Hope everything is going good. I wish you all the best, and all the best for the new year and everything. Miss Sharon Charles, the same for you. All the best for the new year. Kimbra, again, all the best for you, the same, and all the other callers. Mr. Evelyn, yes, I think I know Mr. Evelyn personally. I'm pretty sure the names of I think I know who he is. So, but yes, I wish him all the best. Also, all the best. Happy New Year to you. All the best. I noticed he's been posting messages. I think from last week or week before. I noticed it here online. Yes, and so to all the people, even if I didn't get a chance to mention your name, I just want to say all those people who post messages online, wishing you all the best. I've seen the messages. I acknowledge you, and I wish you all the best for the coming new year. Yes, health and strength. And folks, we seem to be at the top of the hour, and so it's gonna be time for me to head on out of town. But again, folks, I just want to say it's an election year, man, and we have got to demonstrate some political maturity. We have to start voting for people for other reasons other than, he's a friend, or he's a nice person, or I know him a long time, or he belonged to this party. We've got to start really checking out these people carefully, man. Because people are just going there to get wealthy. I won't say get rich, but people are going there to make things easier for themselves, not easier for the people, not easier for the society, but for themselves personally. And they're just going there to push an agenda that is being promulgated by a secret group, a group behind the scenes. And one of the groups that we know that's not behind the scene that they have been pushing is the same Democratic Party. They are the ones to blame for this mess that we're in here now, this whole political stew that we're in. And so we can't just be voting for these people just because they are a member of a political party and all this kind of thing. And you've been registered Democrat for years and all this kind of thing. We got to leave those kind of attitudes behind, man. It's time to get rid of that kind of stuff, man. Start voting for people with integrity, man. People who are going to put the Virgin Islands first. And we had a governor here for 8 years, and we still can't get a hospital built. And he's not going to do this in the next few months of his term. He hasn't built a school. The racetrack is still not there. The ball field in Frederickston is still not there. The roads, so many roads are still not fixed. You know, and I'm sure there are a whole bunch of other problems that I haven't touched on. You know, the schools that are right now running got problems. You know, all sorts of problems. You know, but hey, we have to stop. You know, we got to become better educated voters, man. We need to really start using our brains, man. Instead of just using what you just like this person, I think he gonna be good. No, we gotta leave those things behind. Folks, it's 4 minutes past the hour. It's time for me to head out of town. And I'll just tell you that Brother Ross is coming in and he'll be here with you shortly. And I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe week and weekend until we meet next week for some more Around the Table. Good morning.